All right. Welcome to the Stress Reduce Fat Loss Podcast. I'm Ken Sylvan, and I have
Carl Carter.
my boy here, Carl.
Thanks for having me.
Long time, man.
Yes, sir.
It's been a good time too. So we have a great episode today. Actually, we're going to talk about. Okay, but before we get into that, number one, the best thing is, and to anyone out there who doesn't understand the joke, don't worry about it. It's good. I'm glad. The number one thing I'm glad about is that you're Trinidadian. That's the first thing.
It's huge.
So how do we know each other? When did we meet? We know each other.
Officially, you met back in your extreme days when you're in extreme, probably like decades ago now.
Yeah.
But I think we firstly start talking back when you worked for Wolf's Den.
I did contract book for the Wolf Den. That's right. And you were there. Why were you there?
So before Wolf's Den, it was Impulse Fitness, and I was doing massage therapy and personal training there. And then when Wolf kind of came in, I kind of left.
Yes, you're smart. No disrespect, but I learned a lot in that business venture. I'll leave it at that. But I'm glad I met you then. And then we just kind of kept in touch, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So then, okay. So today we're going to talk a lot about how someone can move, or trainers, coaches out there can understand how to move from being self-employed to a business owner. I think there's a lot of people think if you're self-employed, that means you run a business. But that is not the case, perhaps, because most self-employed people are the cog in the wheel.
Right.
So when they leave, their business dies.
Right.
So you're going to talk, because I've watched you obviously start your business, grow it, and change into something where you're more hands off and more running it than in it.
Correct.
So you're on it instead of it. When we've always talked, running businesses together, come and ask each other advice, and you're someone that I really respect.
Much appreciated.
Friend, mentor, everything. I really like how you've grown your business and not become an asshole doing it. You know what I mean? Because that's a big part.
For sure.
You're also one of the most genuinely giving, amazing guys that I know.
Oh, much appreciated.
So you've always given for nothing. And I'm like, wow, someone who's making money, doing well, why isn't he changing into a dick? And he's not, and that's just, I really like that about you. I wanted to come on here and teach a lot of our students that are listening. I said, who may be either part of our transformation mentorship, which is a program we have where we're teaching students how to do holistic transformations, but teaching them how to evolve out of being that self-employed person and run a business that they can leave, go places with, and do things. So for you, we met, so we did Wolf Den. Let's talk about your background first, because you didn't just open a business and start it.
Correct.
So where did Carl Carter begin then? What's your background? Let's talk about that.
So I started off as a massage therapist. And then I think a few months of working at Impulse Fitness, I was working out with a lot of their trainers. And then I went through and I got my personal training certificate through CanFit Pro. And then from there, I worked in 3 clinics, 3 spas, a gym, and a training studio. And I think it was about 5 years. I just try to collect as much information and trying to find a way how to, run a business. And then I decided to open up my own spot. And I think it was 2010.
So you specifically went and learned.
Yes.
So you weren't just making money at those places. You were learning and watching, right?
100%.
Watching the mistakes. And all right. I like that. And then at what point, what was the day when you figured out, I think I'm ready to do my thing? What was the thing that made you go, I'm going to do my thing? I know the day I said, I'm leaving corporate. I'm not running health centers and gyms anymore. I'm doing my own thing. But what was it for you? What was that thing? Because everyone has a thing that makes them go,
well, you know what? I got to a point where I was busy. I was fully booked as a trainer. I was fully booked as a massage therapist. I was keeping my clients. And I was like, if I don't open up my own place within the next couple of years, I was going to go become a police officer or a paramedic or something. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what? I put together a business plan, and I was like, you know what? I could do this, right? And luckily, my cousin had a baseball training facility. It was the first spot I went to, and I was able to sublease some space from him. I had 2 therapy rooms, a small little training area for my clients, and I started there, right? I got to a point where it's like, if I don't do this on my own, I kind of didn't want to do it anymore. But because I was fully booked as a trainer and as a massage therapist, I was like, okay, let me try to duplicate this with other trainers and other therapists.
So duplicate almost your systems and processes, how you did it, and see if it can keep working for them.
Exactly.
So you said a business plan. So most people are like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. So I just put together, like, you know, what with a business plan, it's going to be forever changing. Like, I've been in business now, I don't know, since 2010, right? So my goal at year one, or even, you know, 6 months in, is going to be different at year 2, year 3, and now at, you know, year, I don't even know what it is, 13, right?
What was your original business plan? Do you remember it?
You know, I can't remember. Like, I don't even know where it is. But like, basically, it was just trying to find a way how to get clients and kind of keep them, right? And how I was going to go about getting the clients, basically, right? It was through like a lot of referrals and stuff like that. Back then, I started doing it again recently. I'm doing a lot of events, right? Wedding events. Anytime there's some type of event that comes up, I take some of the staff, we go down and, you know, we promote the business.
Smart.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So now I know you're working at a facility, and what did people think when you're working for them and you decide to leave and start your own? Because I know what I was told by some people when I want to start my own business. I know what I was told along the way by, you know, old accountants, whatever. And I know that can be discouraging.
Right.
Straight up rude. But you know, anyway, would anything stand out to you? Would anyone stand out that said something when you go, hey, I'm going to resign, I'm going to go do this? Were they encouraging? Were they like, you're fucking crazy? Like, what was there?
One place that I worked at, one of the owners was like, you're probably going to fail. Most people fail on their own when they go out on their own. And if you want your job back, you get it. But for me...
Wow. Whoa. I remember you telling me this story.
Yeah.
We're going to leave names out to protect the innocent. But what were you thinking when this gentleman who has blood in his veins like yours that you can drain said that to you in your face? Like,
for me, that was the most motivating thing anyone could tell me. And like till this day, you know, 13 plus years later, anytime I have a bad day, a bad week, a bad month when it comes to business, I remember that time and I use that as motivation to stay busy. So if I ever see him, he says, how are you doing? Amazing.
Yes, I like that. So some of the most, I guess, discouraging comments can come and be the most motivating and
100%.
Driving from the inside. Depending on how you take it, someone else could have taken that and been like, oh, he's really doing well. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I suck. And then they just kind of settle in the background, right? But you use that as a really, I really, when you told me that story, I loved it. I was like, oh, every time I see him now, I'm like, yeah, let's have it.
Yeah. To this day, it's a motivation factor for me. So you just got to use whatever to motivate you.
Exactly. We ain't naming names. Anyway. All right. Okay. So then let's talk about, for you, obviously starting a business and transitioning out of that, because you went from being like having my clients and starting to duplicate them. So what was that like stressfully? How did you make it? A lot of people don't make it in the business. So like being in our studio, I've seen a lot of studios shut down around us
for sure
and disappear. So what was different for you? What do you think was different for you that kept it going? You know, like even through COVID, even through that. Well, what was,
you know what?
Even before COVID? Like,
I used to train at a friend's personal training studio in his basement.
Trevor.
So as a personal trainer, I learned so much from him.
Love you, Trev.
Right?
You worked with him forever.
Phenomenal guy. And what I learned from him was one thing he always used to say to me is, Junior, when you're training somebody, you got to give them a personal training experience they can't duplicate on their own. Otherwise, someone's going to go work out at Good Life or, you know, whatever gym they want to kind of work out with if they don't need you, right? So like it's like taking care of the little things, right? Like being on time, right? Cueing your clients when they need to contract a muscle or something, right? Giving them that experience they can't experience on their own, keeping them motivated. You know what I mean? So doing the little things to keep your clients motivated, set goals, you know, like if they get to a certain goal, set another goal and just always keep them motivated, keep them coming, right?
But how did you keep going? I mean, even mentally through all those hard times, because we know when you own a business, it can go like, you have those times where you're like, man, this is interesting. Am I doing this? And you're a business owner by yourself.
Right.
Like I had partners. So it's like, and that was still tough. So what was it like? I always admired you for running the business yourself.
Yeah. It's
and your head not exploding.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so what was that like for you getting through those times? Because I remember being outside sometimes the parking lot with the business owners and we're just talking, going after a hard week and you're like, man, I don't even want to talk about this. So I had some of the soundboard off.
Right.
What was it like for you not having... Unless you were home and talking to your wife, which I didn't, but maybe you did. But what was it like?
But I'll chat with people like you, other people in the same position that's self-employed, For me, I'm always like thinking about my why is my family, right? Mm-hmm. And like if this fails, that's it. I don't have a plan B. Mm-hmm. I have a plan A, and I'm gonna make that work. And plan A is my business, right? So yeah, it sucks, especially during like when COVID first happened. Like, oh man, I don't know how it's gonna go on. I'm shut down for 3 months, or every couple of months they want to shut us down for 2 months. But I wasn't gonna let the government beat us, and you put 100% into it, and we had some very loyal clients because we do massage, physio, chiro, personal training, osteopath that kind of followed us, and they kept us open. So that's another thing is like we gave them an experience that they wanted to keep coming, and they supported us and they followed us wherever we went.
You have a great community then.
Phenomenal.
Because if you don't have a great community when times or whatever, people are like, out of here. But you have almost a little micro niche environment, and when I come into your facility, it's like you just feel it. It's like a little city in your place.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So all right, so let's get into it, because if people are listening out, they're like, yeah, get to the bread and butter. What's going on here? What are some tips you can give coaches, even people that are struggling transitioning, already have some staff and they're struggling with it? Let's talk about some tips to transition from self-employed, I'm stuck in my business,
right,
to I'm a business owner, I can run the business, go away, and it still runs.
Yeah, for sure. So like come up with a plan, right? So like, how did you get busy, right? And just like come up with some protocols that kind of, so whichever staff comes in, whether it's, personal training or boot camps or massage therapy or chiro or physio, whatever, come up with a plan, because it's all very similar. Massage, training, chiro, osteopath is the same way to get clients, right? So if you come up with a plan to keep yourself busy, you could duplicate that with all the other different services, right? So like the little things like rebooking your clients, right? So a lot of people expect their clients to want like rebook themselves, but if you do something simple, is okay, let's lock you in for Tuesday and Thursday for the next 6 weeks or 6 months or whatever, right? Don't sell small packages as a personal trainer. Sell 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, right?
Well, let's go back to the one you just, though. Let's talk about the booking people in long term, right? So for you, then how does someone do that? Like, let's say there's someone out there listening, like, I don't know how to, like, is it like, okay, well, Miss Jones or whatever, Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going to see you this time. Well, I don't know if I can do Tuesday, Thursday. Like, it's not always easy, right? It's not like, okay, just book them in. You may have to play with it. You may have to do certain things, right? To get it to work.
Right.
Does that mean sometimes stretching your schedule? Because what if Ms. Jones can only come on Tuesdays, but then she needs Friday evenings at this time? Do you suggest people to like in the beginning to be more flexible, or to stay hard, stay within your people? If you lose them, let them go. Like, what do you suggest to that?
It'd be relatively flexible, right? But at the same time, I would say, try to lock them in. Like, the big mistake I think a lot of trainers do is they sell small packages. So after 5 sessions or 10 sessions, they're looking for new clients. So if you sell the bigger packages of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, down the road, business wise, like where you are. So it's easier to kind of fill up your schedule. And then if someone else comes in, okay, you know what? Let's lock you in at 4 o'clock. Let's lock you in at 5 o'clock. Yeah, you got to be a little flexible at times because, things kind of come up. But I think the more you stay on the long-term packages, you're going to be able to see your business down the road. And then once you fill yourself up, you can hire someone else and do the same thing.
And then this can apply to people that are online, because we have a lot of coaches that are online listening right now that don't train in person. Like my business, we don't do anything in person that way from the nutrition side. So same thing, creating packages, creating support programs that go for a period of time, but not just for that sake, but also making sure there's a reason for it, right? Making sure there's a reason for that. And then being able to coach them through those months, because it's you're in essence, you're staying married for a while, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you said, the next point you said is finding another trainer or coach or someone to follow through now. Now, how do you find good people? Because we all know finding good people is interesting.
So I've learned over the past few years is how to interview better, right? Asking the right questions. Before, when I first started, I was hiring trainers for the sake of hiring trainers because I just needed a body. But now it's asking the right questions, right? Getting references, which is huge. The know the type of person that type of trainer is, right? Are they reliable? Are they going to be on time, which is huge, right? Are they motivating to their clients, right? Little things like that. If you ask like the right questions of them being on time, how they motivate their clients, how they train their clients, you better gauge it. Know, okay, if this is the right fit for you, they'll work for you. Otherwise, you don't want someone who's going to be late all the time, or that's not motivating.
So what are some flags then? Because, an interview is like a first date. Everyone's going to come looking a certain way, saying all the right. No one's going to say, yeah, I'm late sometimes. So what have you learned over the years when you ask the question? Are there tells that you can go, I'm going to ask them this, when they answer this way, it means this? Like, what, give maybe someone who's having trouble hiring some things they can look for when they ask those questions, because everyone has a great resume. Everyone says the right things. What are some cues that go, I don't know about this? What's one red flag that you've caught before?
I think some people are hesitant to give the references.
They don't have any.
Yeah.
Which means their last place wasn't great.
Yes. Or like there's a huge gap. Okay, I've been a personal trainer for 10 years and like you haven't trained like in 2 years or a year and a half. Maybe you have, but you just don't want to put that on your resume.
It's looking for gaps in the timeline.
Right.
Okay. Anything else that you've seen like that kind of gives you a red flag that you can tell right away? Like, is it like, what about when someone shows up to the interview? Is it like, does that give you any cues? Like, what are some?
Yeah, professionalism, right? Like, to this day, if I had an interview, I'm going to come dressed for an interview, being on time. If you're late for an interview, that means you're probably going to be late, for your sessions, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're, they always say, if you're on time, you're late, right? So if you come a little early and you're dressed to the part, you want to be professional, right?
I like that. Okay. So being early is being on time. And exactly. That means if they do it for you, they'll do it for the clients.
100%.
All right. Okay. What else? So we talked about, what's another point? You said making sure you're booked down the road. That's one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about marketing, because your marketing's always been good. I like your Instagram. You're always marketing your classes and you're marketing your this, you're marketing this. Let's talk a little about some marketing things that you've seen that maybe people can use.
So I think the best thing, I've spent thousands of dollars on, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, newspaper ads. The best thing is word of mouth, right? So if you do the right job, your clients are going to refer to you, right? But from there, like keeping your clients happy will get you other clients, basically. And don't be afraid to ask for a referral, right? Another little thing I used to do was like, if I'll tell my clients, if you give me a client, I'll give you a free session, basically. Just reward them for helping you out, right? And then I've done Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and that's really worked. So if you partner up with the right person that knows how to, put those keywords in, make the right flyer type of thing, you can get some good traction from Facebook ads also.
So then investing a little bit, sometimes it's just putting a little bit of money out there to get a return.
Exactly.
Is important, because a lot of times we want free media. Thank God we're not in the era of flyers. I remember when flyers were out when we started, and it was a nightmare. I'm like, flyers, it's so hard to figure out. So, but using the right kind of investment,
right? You're
saying you got to put a little bit of money out to get something back, and that can go a long way.
Exactly.
All right.
And even being consistent with like your social media stuff, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, just be consistent, and then have your your audience know that, okay, don't just be about selling stuff, give some good information too.
So then for you, I noticed your stuff, you're always consistent. It's like a TV channel, you're always there. But it also lets us know your business is open.
Right.
Like your business is always running. It's not like you don't talk about your chiropractor for a while. You don't talk about them for a month and you talk about them. So you're always talking about all the different facets of your business so people know what's available and what's going on. So, okay. So then is there ever a time when you do marketing where it's like, I invested and this doesn't work, and now I just don't have money to invest? Like, what do you suggest for someone that maybe like, I only have this much on my budget? I know you said getting the results from clients, but I remember when we started, we were getting great. We lived off referrals for like years, but then we wanted to thrive, and it's like we just needed more exposure. Relative, like being relatively unknown, I find is the biggest thing for any business.
Right.
You can be great, but if no one knows you are, you're going to die. So what would you maybe suggest for someone that doesn't have a lot of money? They're getting good results, they're living off referrals, and maybe they just need that extra push. Like, what's maybe something that you went through that you can suggest for them maybe?
Yeah. So getting out into the public. So there's a lot of events that happen, especially during the summer. close to where you live. There's, there could be a rib fest, there could be any type of fest that's kind of going on outdoors. Go outside and promote your business, right? They're relatively cheap. It could be $100 to $200 to set up a booth type of thing. So if you're getting out there and just, do some type of free demo or something like that, people will kind of gravitate to that and possibly sign up for personal training boot camps or whatever you want to do.
That's a good point. I guess sometimes we forget about real people, real handshakes, 100%. Real stuff, and just getting out in your own community and being known. Because you don't have to be known across the world, but exactly. If you're known in your town as being, always showing up and giving good service, that's a great way for your business to kind of keep going. Right?
Exactly. You want to keep it local.
I like that. Keep it local. I like that. Okay, because you do a lot of events.
Yeah.
You're everywhere.
You know what? I haven't done it in the past couple of years, but I'm probably 5 or 6 years, but I'm starting to do it again. Just want to get out there, be seen. We have more services now to offer, so kind of want to get it out there so everyone can kind of see what we do. And like I said, I want to stay local and getting out there so people can see who we are is you kind of reintroducing yourself, especially over the past 3 years when you've been kind of, stuck in your business. It's good to get out again and, see different events and, see people around where we live.
And like I said, do you look at a certain thing? Do you look at a certain site to find events? Literally, I remember back in the day, Bart and I would literally go, okay, we're going to Pickering Town Center. We're going to talk to 20 stores today on this. We just literally go and go, hey, this is what we do and whatever, right. And hand out stuff. And are you doing that? Or do you have a specific website that you go to that gives you events? How do you do that? Because someone may be like, it's a great idea, but I'm really nervous. And what's the first step?
So there's there's always things like RibFest that kind of goes on. So call the organizer for that and kind of, try to get in there, set up a little tent with, maybe a laptop, a pop-up sign or something. If there's a local convention center close to where you live, you could kind of do something like that. And call them and say, okay, do you have a wedding show or this show? If you're a personal trainer, someone might be trying to get ready for a wedding and trying to get into shape with their wedding party, right? So there's different options, different events that you can always sign up for.
But you got to look for it. You got to get out there and look for it.
Yeah, you got to put in the work.
And if, a lot of times, a lot of your business is a couple kilometers from where you are, just kind of picking a radius. We go, all right, here's 3 kilometers. We're going to go 3 kilometers, just go around our area and try to find people that way. And even though we never got a lot of direct business that way, it's almost like the effort of putting yourself out there brings business in.
For sure.
We always laughed about that. We're like, we didn't really meet anyone when we went to Mazda, Toyota, whatever, but it's almost like because we were trying, the universe of God just started sending people
100%
our way. And I found that fascinating. Let's just go out and go talk to people and see what happens, right? So
whenever I do an event, if I get one person, I'm happy. One is better than none, right? And, you go and knock on some doors and see who answers, right?
And I think a lot of us are concerned, not afraid, but we've forgotten how. We're like, all right, let's see, where is it on here? But there's so many, a good buddy of mine, Joe, is always like, let's go knock on some doors. He calls it going on tour. Let's go on tour and meet people and do that. I'm like, we forgot about that. So even with us, we're trying to do more lunch and learns and go out and we have corporate programs now, go and talk to people and help them because a lot of businesses need the help.
Right.
So that's a great idea. All right. What about, now, one thing I noticed you did a lot as well is I talked to you, where are you? Oh, I'm out in Burlington. I'm talking to this guy who owns a whatever. I'm like, what are you doing out there? So you're always going and finding new people, to learn from. So talk a little bit about that.
So networking, right? So I talk to a trainer. I love talking business when it comes to, personal training, massage, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. So, I could go talk to someone in Burlington or, we're in Ajax, Oshawa, or wherever, but I can't service people in Burlington. Mm-hmm. I'm probably not going to service people in Oshawa, right? So if you develop a referral system, someone in Burlington might know someone that's moving out to Ajax or something that might want to come and work with us, right? And it's just good to me, just developing a good relationship with other trainers, other training studios. And, if you have to bounce ideas off of people, it's good just to meet different people. So whether it's talking to another training studio, 100 kilometers away or something local, where you could develop a relationship with a nutrition store, right? You could get some type of referral system kind of going.
I also noticed that you're also learning though, right? If you go somewhere, it's like, this guy or this gal is doing really good.
Right.
Like we've done that a lot. I know you've done that. I'm going to go out there and learn from them. Reach out, say hi, go and see what their business. Just say, hey, you know what? I saw your business is doing really well. I wouldn't mind coming out, just chatting a little about seeing what you're doing, have coffee or whatever. And then you go and you're learning, right? You're learning how they're running their business. Because I've seen you do that too, right?
Exactly.
Go and do that. So I think that's helpful because people that are doing it well, you want to learn what they're doing.
Exactly.
So how often do you do that? Because you've been doing that for years now. I've watched you go out and talk to people.
Yeah, I'm always talking to somebody, right? I'm always reaching out to somebody, especially when I do the conferences for personal training, you're always meeting someone new that has a studio. So I'm like, oh, where's your studio? So I'll go check up on them, talk to them. I don't know everything. I've been in business for 13 years, but I'm always willing to learn, right? And I think someone starting out as a massager, not massager, but as a personal trainer or even a massage therapist, if you want to get to a certain level, I think go find someone that's where you want to be and ask them questions, right? And then you're going to learn from that.
Yeah, and that's anything, right? Like people do it. We used to pick brains. I remember Charles Poliquin, when we studied with him, he had a brain picking fee, and he taught us that. He goes, you should find someone that you believe in, whether it's one business owner who's good at business, someone that understands nutrition better, your strength coaching, whatever, and ask them what their brain picking fee is. And then go out and pay them and learn from them. Some people don't even want to, but we said, yeah, we value time. And now we are the ones sometimes getting brain picked, and we have a brain picking fee. People come out and see how we run stuff there. We do it. And that's really, for us, how we started the mentorship was really teaching all of our systems from Be Elite.
Right.
Systems, our systems of stress, reduce fat loss, our system how to do the assessment, all those things, so that other people could do well. Right. So I really like that, how you went out and always finding people to kind of do that. So now let's talk about one of maybe the worst things you've ever had, or the funniest situations you've had trying to grow your business. Like just maybe with staffing. What's one thing that's come and go, Ken, this is probably like a hilarious situation or something you may run into, that's hard to manage. It could be either, having staff is a new headache. Maybe they're in love or something. What are some funny things that as people go from self-employed to business owner, they may run into? Yeah,
little things like that. As your business grows, you may have staff that kind of want to date or stuff like that. May not be the best idea.
What's your stance on that? In your place, what's your stance?
I can't tell another grown person what to do, right? But you and I know, right? In the gym industry, it's a 99% chance if you're dating each other, it's not going to work out, right? So I can't tell another grown person what to do, but I just don't think it's a good idea, right? And it could just make things awkward at work, and you don't want to take sides or anything like that, so it's probably not the best idea, right?
So you don't have a hardcore policy, because that could end up being like, we call it no shitting in your business.
Exactly.
You don't have a hardcore policy on that?
No, I should though.
Okay. So you have any coaches out there, nutritionists, if you want an open policy, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's not bad. So, but any other, as you go into being a business owner, what's one thing, maybe give us two things that you love about being a business owner and two things you miss about being just self-employed, which means it was just you, all your clients. But let's talk about that. Let me give us two things.
So two things I love is like the ability to grow your business and continue to grow your business, right? And it's like having a kid or a plant that you're just growing and you're kind of nurturing it. And like there's so much endless possibilities that you could grow with your business. And especially when you have the right team around you. And I think I have a great team with me. It makes growing your business amazing, right? But on the flip side of that, growing your business could be a little bit of a headache. It's not for everybody, right? Like, it's not a 9-to-5 job. You know what I mean? There's a lot of work to it. There's a lot of nurturing to it. You're going to have headaches. You're going to have your ups and your downs, right? Especially for me as a sole owner, everything is on me. Every complaint, every bill, every this, that, and the other. I could take it, but it's not for everybody. And you should have ways to de-stress yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they involve going to Vegas or what's that?
Why not?
All right. Okay. So let's talk about two things then that you miss about just being self-employed. I'm on my own. I am the business. Carl is the business. Well, what's maybe two things you miss about that?
So I was like working for somebody, but like I was still like an independent contractor. Like you could just, it's easier just to kind of take off for longer periods of time. Like now I'm getting to a point where, okay, I don't have to be in a business as much as I did before. I still massage and I still train, but I don't have to, right? And it's good.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it's good to be at that level. But, some people would hear that, but that was a 10 to 13 year process to kind of get there. Right?
A lot of people want to come in on their first year of coaching, and all of a sudden they want to run a business, and like it takes time.
Very trial and error, right?
It takes time. So then, what do you miss about it? What do you miss about being the only person in the business? What do you miss?
Less stress, right? Less stuff on your plate, right? Because I have 18 people that work with me, right? So like, there's like everything kind of coming towards me. If it was just me, it's just my clients I have to deal with. Now I got to deal with everybody's clients, everybody's complaints and stuff like that. But again, there's pros and cons. Like I said, for the most part, our the staff is absolutely amazing. The clients are absolutely amazing. But it's just, more money, more problems. Right.
There you go. All right. So obviously to recap, so a couple of things you said, obviously, make sure you have a business plan.
Yes.
For almost like a 6 months, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, what are your goals? What do you want to do? And then what's the plan to make it work? I call it work backwards, right?
Right.
Make sure you're booking people down the road when you actually have clients,
right.
And then duplicate yourself. Right. So whatever, I guess, is you're winning as a coach, write down what you did to win, and then try to teach a trainer that or a nutritionist or someone else coming online. Events.
Yes.
Be in the public, go out, meet people, do things. Don't just get stuck in social media, but get out and shake hands, kiss babies kind of thing.
Exactly. Meet everybody.
And then lastly, let's see, marketing. We talked about that. Anything else?
Yeah. Like I said, even like getting a referral network, right? So if you're just a personal trainer, go to nutrition place or go talk to like maybe a physiotherapist or massage therapist and try to get into a referral network so you could have cross referrals for everything.
That's true because I think a lot of times the business, it's generated. The one thing you learn about owning your business is every month you're like starting at zero, you're cranking it back up again. So if you don't have to do that every month because you have residuals or flow or feeding from different streams of income coming from different places, it takes a lot off of your brain to have to like, all right, let me climb that mountain again this month, right?
Right. You're always having to find new people, but if you have a referral network, you're getting a couple of new people from other people every month.
And then if you're maintaining, obviously, creating a great community, then it should be great. Timelines. What's a realistic timeline? I think everyone starting businesses now wants to be like, yeah, man, in 1 year, I should have my whole business. I should be able to travel and not be here. What do you think is realistic for a new person who's been running a coaching, nutrition, whatever, training business, and then want to make that step? What do you think is a realistic amount of time? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years?
I think social media gave us an unrealistic view of life, right? So that we want everything now, right? So I remember I started back in 2005. My first month, I made like $400 or $500, right? Luckily, by the end of that year, I was working part-time at Home Depot. By the end of that year, I was able to quit Home Depot and kind of go from there. But just be patient, right? I remember the first 2 or 3 years doing personal training. You were busy in the winter, but once summer came, it was slow, right? So it's just learning the business, being patient, knowing how to hang out to your clients and turn them to long-term clients is huge. But that might take, I would say, minimum a year. Right. If like I said, go talk to somebody to kind of help you, kind of guide you. But I would say minimum a year to kind of get busy, maybe 2 or 3 years where, kind of learning your craft and how to be a good business person.
Do you suggest mentors? A lot of people talk about having a business mentor. Do you suggest that? Did you have one?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you? Sure. And were they someone who came over and just kind of hung out and did you a favor, or were you paying them, or like because I know I had people. We had business mentors, and they were like, "Yeah, let me do you a favor," like old bosses, and they weren't that great. But once we started investing in a business mentor, I found I got what I paid for.
Makes sense.
And my business. But for you, what was your experience? Did you just have people?
I picked people's brain. Like I picked your brain, right? I picked other friends' brains that had their own business. If you go pay for it, it's going to be more structured, and you might be able to not hit as many mistakes as you would if you're just kind of trial and error type of thing.
Do you do any mentoring? If there's any coaches out there that want mentoring, do you do that with businesses?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So they can hit you. We're going to talk a bit about how to find you.
Yeah.
If any coach out there want to understand how to kind of grow their business, let's do that. We've done that in the past, which is I've always loved giving back. I've always like helping coaches develop their business, get better, and do that stuff. So it's a great feeling to not only duplicate it your staff, but then see someone else duplicate with their business.
100%.
So let's talk about your business then. Let's talk about that, because you've named off a couple things: massage, chiro, osteo. So let's talk about your business and what it's about, the philosophy, what you have in it. Like, what are the services? Let's go
so we do personal training, boot camps, massage, physio, chiro, osteopath. We have a holistic nutritionist there, right? So it's a one-stop shop for health and fitness, right? So,
and you sell supplements too, right?
Yeah, we do supplements.
There you go. I've been buying my Sun Warrior for you and my wife's been coming to see you for years. So hopefully it's for the Sun Warrior. But kidding, honey, kidding. Anyway, so you have everything going on in there.
Yeah.
What is for your services, what do you find the busiest is? Which was the busiest service, or the one that's like, this is my business and everything else kind of funnels through? Or is it seasonal? Like sometimes my therapy side is going busier and my training side's not, or what do you find is different?
Yeah. You know what? So honestly, when I was started out, it was just me and another massage therapist. So I do massage and personal training and one more trainer. So I wanted the business to grow kind of evenly. So I'm not depending on just, physiotherapy department or personal training or chiro. So I would say personal training and massage is really, really busy, and physio. But I wanted things to grow evenly. So I'm not dependent on one thing. So if someone leaves, you're not dependent on that one person.
Right. Nothing folds kind of thing.
Exactly.
So your business is kind of even.
Exactly.
And then marketing again, when you look for great people, always getting great results, that's, you have 18 people in your staff, right?
Yeah, about that.
So then it's like, you have to find 18 people that get results.
Right.
There's a lot of good people out there,
right?
But it's also not super easy, because most people may want you.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, is that what I'd like to do, you've distanced yourself. It's not Carl's Health and Fitness.
Yes.
It's Apex Health and Fitness.
Correct.
So they're not coming looking for you anymore. They're looking for what they get at Apex. That's the other big part, I guess, be helpful. Or
exactly.
So how did you find so many great people? Because you may have someone who's a chiro or an osteopath, and they may not be great.
Right.
Have you ever run into a situation where you've had a therapist, not just training, because we don't want to just focus on the coaches,
right,
but a coach, a therapist, someone who wasn't getting great results? So in other words, you're putting clients in, but they're not coming out on the other side.
Right.
There's no referrals, no renewals. Right. Have you ever seen that, and how did you deal with it?
Yes. So to me, I've seen that a couple of times, and to me, I gave them, the person, a chance to do better. You gave them suggestions and kind of go from there. But at the same time, you have to get to a point where, if it's not working, unfortunately, it's time to let that person go. And
not working means clients are leaving. They're going in, they're not staying, they're not sending people, they're out of there.
Exactly.
Okay. So you track that over a couple of months and you go,
yeah.
And then you give them some suggestions if it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. That's cool. I like that. Any programs going on in the business now? What's new on the horizon for Apex Health and Fitness, or for you? Is it any cool things coming up? I know you got some stuff you're doing personally, or you're into fitness yourself. You live it. So anything going on with you want to talk about, or what's new in the business that's coming up?
Well, with your help, I'm trying to shut down myself for the summer. Hopefully, get into another fitness show. I've done 4 in the past, from 2009. I think about 2019 was my last show.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Holy
Time
geez.
flies, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it was that whole blip of COVID that kind of stopped me from competing. But I'm hungry. I'm ready to get back into that. Just kind of keep pushing the business forward. With all the multiple lockdowns, I wasn't able to do boot camps. So we're starting to do boot camps again slowly. So we're really kind of growing that again. But it's a one-stop shop for health and fitness, right? So I'm ready to really expand the business now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then for you, I guess, is there a class or a boot camp that's really, as we approach the summer, that is this is going to be I know you have one. I think you have one for Carabana, don't you?
Yeah, we do a Carabana boot camp. So people get ready for Carabana, right? The time to get ready for the summer is now. So don't wait. Don't come to us in July and say, I want to get ready in 2 weeks, right?
That's a lot of personal training. But for you, then, I've seen you have almost a boot camp for everything. I've seen
Yeah.
like you've had moms in there.
Yeah.
You've even had one for dads or for men that just want to train.
Yeah.
What are some of where do you get the ideas for your boot camps? Is your staff saying, hey, I got an idea, or is it you telling them to do it? Like, where were you?
Yeah. So
and name a couple.
Yeah. So we have a mom and tot class that we go on every now and then. It goes in kind of cycles. So like sometimes we have a group of ladies going to come in with their kids and kind of work out, kind of get themselves back in shape after having a kid. Usually, obviously, it's a few months after they've had the kid when babies or toddlers. And then for me, I'm 42. And I wanted to develop a class for men over 40, right? So, just start talking about things that guys don't want to talk about, right? Trying to get them and to get in shape and keep in shape, basically. So I developed that program, and that's going really well. Try to keep that small, about 4 to 6 guys, and then we do that for 6 weeks to kind of go from there. And then we just have a regular boot camp that anyone could join. So that runs 6 days a week, 10 times a week.
That's busy.
Yeah,
that's a biggie on it. Before we wrap up, let's go over a couple little things that, that I think are important. Number one, taxes.
Huge.
I remember one year we're like, man, we're making money. This is great. And we're like, oh, shoot, we got to pay HST. We got to do taxes. We're like, I remember we ran, well, if the government's listening, we didn't run, but HST was like, oh my gosh, I felt like it was the knife in our heart having to take that money. But putting it aside, creating the bank accounts, putting a certain percentage aside, putting aside your CPPI, all that stuff. Taxes. I said, like, that's an important thing, obviously, to provide for, right? Like,
it's very important. I think because most of the time, if you're self-employed or even if you're working for somebody, you're going to get your full pay without deductions, right? Unless you're working at a Good Life or something, right? But if you're working at an independent gym or if you're just working on your own, you're going to get 100% of whatever you're making, right? Or a certain percentage. But you have to realize you got to pay taxes, right? Just like everybody else. So I think it's very important to take 30 or 33% of whatever you make.
That's what I did, 30, yeah.
Right? Put into a separate account, right? Like a savings account. So when it comes time to paying taxes at the end of the year, most of the time, especially if you do a good job when it comes to write-offs, you're not going to get money back, but you're not going to owe as much as what you put in, right? So I think it's a good like habit to try to save as much as you can. And there's going to be hard times where you can't do the 30%, but try to. So, at the end of the year, you're not scrambling to pay your taxes or having to get a loan to pay your taxes, basically.
Yeah. Or selling parts of your blood or whatever.
Yeah.
Going across to Buffalo to giving blood to make money. What about incorporating? We'll talk. I know someone obviously is going to want to know about sole proprietor, like incorporating all these different things. Like for your business, do you stay sole proprietor or are you like incorporated now? Or
I'm sole proprietor now, but I'm going to incorporate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know for us, we incorporated a bit ago. Biggest reason we did was just like my accountant at the time said, do you want anything linked to you, Ken? Yeah, that was his biggest question for me, because if you have any issues come up, do you want to have a separate entity that has nothing to do with you that will take the punch? Or do you want to take the punch, your house, everything else? I was like, I don't want anything to do with my life taking the punch. So that was important. That's why we incorporated, to separate ourselves. So any liability, any problems, the business, any stuff like that, the business is literally a thing over there. And that's what incorporating is. And I would say but making sure you make enough money, income. To a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm making less than 30 grand. I'm incorporating. Not a great idea. You can't even pay HST if you're making less than, but you shouldn't even be paying HST less than 30,000. So, and these are all Canadian talks. If you're in the US or Australia somewhere, don't laugh. This is not for you. This is Canada. But that's really where it comes in. Sole proprietor. It's great. You're attached to the business. You and the business are like together.
Right.
So if anyone takes a hit at the business, they take a hit at you. Right. So you want to separate those. Great. You want to get a car, incorporate all those different things can be in the shelter of the business. And a lot of times what people do is they're going to want to live through the business. So they'll make a certain amount of money and they'll keep their income down. And then all the money will stay in the business, the incorporation, where they pay much less tax, probably 15% corporate tax versus 30 to 50 if you're personal. And they'll live through the business. So any purchase they make will be in the business that way. And that's how they live, which means their own personal taxes are low. They pay low tax and everything else. And that's kind of how technically you're supposed to do it if you're doing the incorporation thing. So if anyone's out there listening, in terms of what to do, that's kind of a rough nutshell of why incorporate or not. Okay, so that's kind of that. So where do we find you? Let's talk about that. Where do people find this guy?
Yeah, so I'm in Ajax, 700 Finley Avenue, Unit 10, Apex Health and Fitness. Or you can find us on Instagram at Apex Health and Fitness, or my personal one is Apex Carl. So feel free to reach out to me anytime. I love talking business. If you need any help with anything, or if you want to hit us up for any of our services, massage, physio, chiro, personal training, osteopath, and holistic nutrition.
And for you, you teach as well.
Yeah.
You're running a business full time.
Yeah.
You teach at
Oxford College, massage therapy.
And you're still doing the odd time you're teaching for a camp, right? You have a territory, you do all that?
Yeah. I was doing it with James in Ajax.
Yes. Yeah, James is my business partner there. So busy guy. You're always teaching and mentoring in the industry. And I think that's great because like myself, you want to make this industry great and better. And that's by raising the intelligence, the everything else, and the business side of it, I think is just as important as the knowledge side. So
100%.
So any coaches out there, you know how to find him. Our next mentorship, Transformation Mentorship, is coming up March 27th. In our mentorship, we still teach a little bit about business. We still teach you how to set up your business, how to get it running, little things you can understand, how to do your social media. These are all things we still teach in modules when it comes to the business. We also give you some resources on it. Our main thing is teaching you how to do holistic transformations using our stress-reduced fat loss system. But we still allow you to understand how to get my business kind of going, okay? How to coach people properly and these simple things. We aren't teaching HST. No, we're not. But we're teaching everything else besides that. So if you're interested in that, go to www.transformationmentorship.ca. You can drop us an invitation there, an application, not an invitation. And then also you can go to our Instagram, Transformation Mentorship, if you want to send us a DM. It starts in a short period of time. So it could be the best thing to set up a year for the rest of the year. Otherwise, hit up Carl to find out more about businesses if you want mentoring a person in your business. And otherwise, brother, we'll have you on again.
Thanks for having me.
Great having you.
Much appreciated.
All right.
All right.